Welcome, you dear little morbid monsters, to my new terror title. EC's gruesome threesome is now a revolting foursome as the Crypt of Terror joins the Vault of Horror, the haunt of fear and tales from the crypt to bring you heaping helpings of horror in the oft-imitated EC tradition. I trust you'll be amply sickened by the latest collection of cadaverous cavortings. As of now, all is at peace at the EC offices, but I expect trouble when the Vault Keeper and the Old Witch realize that I now have two muckmags to their one. Oh well, there's no use slaughtering your chickens before you come to the burned bridges. So come into the Crypt of Terror, and your host in Howls and Heaves, your Crypt Keeper, will launch my new nauseating newsprint narcotic with the blood-curdling, spine-tingling yelp yarn I call Upon Reflection. Chester Wayne trudged tremulously along the macadam road leading from Plainsville. His high-powered rifle was ready, his nervous finger on the trigger. Above, a full round moon threw a pale light on the countryside, silhouetting each shadowy bush into an ominous crouching figure. Around him, each faint whisper of wind warned, "Go back, go back." I swore over Mamie's naked bones I'd get the one who did it to her. I got to keep trying. I got to. Thinking of Mamie made Chester mad and drove him on. He was rounding a turn when he saw it not 40 feet ahead. He stopped abruptly and called out to the black-cloaked hulk in the shallow roadside ditch. Who's there?" The startled creature turned from its human prey. A clammy sweat broke out on Chester when he saw the hairy face, the blood dripping from its lips and chin. "Oh, Lord!" The werewolf bared its fangs at the hunter and snarled. Chester dropped to one knee, threw the rifle to his shoulder, and squeezed the trigger. A hollow-nosed 33 shrieked across the road after the now fleeing beast. "Hit him! For Mamie, rip him open!" He was numb with horror, half blind with rage, as he blasted away at the disappearing monster till the magazine was empty and the hammer clicked dead on the empty rifle chamber. "Missed him! Mamie, I missed." Loath to look upon the gory remains that lay in the ditch, Chester was nevertheless drawn towards them, as though by some magnet of morbidity. He approached on trembling legs, looked, then recoiled in horror at the sight of bare bone and raw, half-eaten flesh. A great violent sickness wrenched at Chester's innards, and he turned retching and ran the whole way back to Plainsville. The men in Marley's tavern leaped to their feet as Chester burst through the door, headed for the bar. They saw the rifle and the look on his face, and they knew. Who was it this time, Chet? Quick, Frank, pour me something straight." Chester tossed off a double bourbon, and while it was still burning down, he panted out the terrible details of his harrowing experience. "God, man, tell us who it was. We've all got families. A farmer. Has a place 3 miles out. Seen him in town. Nice guy. Quiet. He's gonna be quiet a long, long time now. Like my Mamie." At first, the men exchanged guilty glances of relief, but after a few moments of brooding silence, Paul Myers climbed onto a table and shouted, "That makes 5 victims in as many months. And why? Ain't we paying for protection in this rotten town? All we get from Mayor Hanson is promises. Do we wait till that werewolf grabs someone close to us? before we make Hanson do something. It already got someone close to me, Paul. My wife, Mamie. That gives you more right to tell the mayor off, Chet. You lead the way, and we'll back you up. 15 minutes later, Mayor Elwood Hanson was awakened by shouts of his name. He leaned uneasily from the bedroom window of his colonial home and looked down at the angry crowd below. Please, gentlemen, my wife is asleep. Then come on down, Mayor. Soon his portly, pajama-clad figure, wrapped in a silken robe, the dignified mayor of Plainsville, stood before his townspeople, listening to the frightful news. Terrible, terrible. I'll send official condolences to his widow in the A fat lot of good that'll do, Mayor. What about the protection you promised us? What can I do, Mr. Wayne? For one thing, this fiendish attack took place outside of town, beyond my jurisdiction. My wife's body was ravaged right here on the streets of Plainsville. We want more than words, Mayor. What are you gonna do about it, Hanson? Mayor Hanson tried to pacify the roiled mob. Please, gentlemen, now, Mr. Wayne, if you say you fired several silver bullets at this werewolf, they were silver bullets, of course. Silver? I don't get you, Mayor. I used hollow-nosed 33s. Lead, not silver. They're like dum-dums. Mayor Hanson was very adept at shifting the pressure from himself. Well, I might have known someone would go off half-cocked. My dear Mr. Wayne, if you'd taken the trouble to read up on werewolves, as I have, you'd know that only a silver bullet can kill a werewolf. The crowd fell silent with embarrassment, for no man wished to admit ignorance to his neighbor. Mayor Hanson smiled patronizingly. I'll welcome anyone of you to my library who'd care to inform himself of the habits of the lycanthrope. Meanwhile, my fellow citizens, be calm and good night. The mayor went back into his stately home. The crowd dispersed, and Chester Wayne joined Paul Myers and Chick Rogers in a gloomy session at Marley's Tavern. There never was a man better at squirming out of a hot spot than Mayor Hanson. We're no better off than before we called on him. Chester Wayne grimaced. Yes, we are. We have time. A whole month before the next full moon. We can start melting down silver coins for bullets. We can be ready the next time that werewolf shows himself. So most of the people of Plainsville lived in dread of the coming full moon. And the night it arrived, everyone stayed behind locked doors and shuttered windows. Only Clara Hanson, the mayor's wife, ventured out to visit her aged and ailing mother. I've got to be running along, Mama. Elwood will be worrying about me. Promise you'll take it easy. What else could I do in this wheelchair, Clara? It was just 3 short blocks from her mother's house to the Hanson home. Clara walked unafraid until she saw the full yellow moon hanging high above the village square. Thank heavens it's not far. Clara Hanson hurried her steps, finding some little comfort as the quick clicking of her heels along the deserted sidewalk kept time with the rapid beating of her racing heart. She'd reached the square only 1 block from home when she heard the terrifying snarl. She spun around, her blood turning to ice in her veins. Her attempted scream came forth as no more than an asthmatic wheezing squeal. The flesh-starved beast sprang, sinking its gleaming fangs into her throbbing throat, ripping it open, fountaining the blood over its hairy face, into its red, boiling eyes. While just across the square in Marley's Tavern, Chester Wayne and Paul Myers were fortifying themselves at the bar. "We're ready for him this time, Frank." "Yep. Got silver bullets in our rifles." "That's right, Frank." "Fat lot of good you're doing talking about it here. If you're going after him, go. If you're scared, then admit it and quit bullying." Sheepishly, they picked up their silver bullet-loaded carbines and stalked from the tavern across the square. They got no further than where the ghastly skeleton of Clara Hansen lay in a pool of congealing gore, her blood-soaked clothes strewn about. "Paul! We're too late. Come on. Let's get the mayor. Let's make him see for himself." Mayor Hansen was plainly troubled when he faced the two white-faced men across his threshold. "Struck again? Oh, Lord, no! No! I just phoned my mother-in-law. Clara hasn't come home yet. Was it, a woman?" "Paul." "Yeah, I'm thinking the same thing. You better get dressed, Mayor." The mayor recognized his wife's clothes at once. With much loud wailing and anguished sobs, he fell across her flesh-stripped bones. "Clara, my Clara." "All that carrying on won't help her none. Leave him alone, Paul." At last the mayor arose and his tear-reddened eyes blazed. "That filthy, vile thing. I'll get every able-bodied man in this town after it. This time it's your wife and the shoes on the other foot. Lay off, will you, Paul? Every man will be armed. There'll be silver bullets for all. A vigilante committee. That's what we'll have. We'll divide into groups, comb the countryside. Come the next full moon, we'll be waiting." Within 28 days, every capable man in Plainsville had received a rifle and 5 silver bullets. Everyone had practiced with moving targets. Everyone was ready. The afternoon before the night of the full moon, the men thronged before Mayor Hansen's mansion. "We'll start now, in groups of 6, in daylight, so we can acquaint ourselves with each area. Now, remember, stay close together and make sure of what you're shooting at. When you see something move, make certain it isn't one of your own party. Pair up. One man use a light while the other man does the shooting. We don't want any innocent people killed." It was twilight when Mayor Hansen, wearing a red suede shooting jacket and scarlet hunter's cap, climbed from his car at the rendezvous spot for his group. Chester Wayne grinned. "Pipe the fancy outfit on his honor, Paul. You could see it in a coal mine at midnight." "Hunting in the dark is a dangerous business, Mr. Wayne. I'd rather be safe than sorry." When darkness came, the men were alert and jumpy. Matt Stevens, with his group in town, saw a suspicious figure, screamed out after it, and began shooting. "Cut that out, Matt. The mayor said to make sure what you're shooting at." Luckily, Matt's shots were wild. The figure turned out to be a familiar drunk they all knew well. "Well, what'd you run for if you weren't the werewolf?" I ain't so soused I'm gonna be a sitting duck when someone opens up on me, Matt Stevens. Meanwhile, Mayor Hanson and his party surrounded a strange old woman walking along a lonely dark road. Lady, you're taking a chance being out tonight. Better let us see you home. I don't need to be seen home. I ain't scared. Paul Myers studied the old hag. Hold on, Mayor. Who says the werewolf's gotta be a man? I've seen this queer dame around. I never liked her looks. Maybe you've got something there, Myers. I hadn't thought of a female werewolf. Mayor Hanson and Paul Myers revealed their theory to the others of their party. Well, how can we tell if she is the werewolf? We'll take her back to my place. I have that book. It tells how to recognize a werewolf, even in human form. Chet Wayne brandished his rifle and scoffed. Aw, nuts to your book, Mayor. In less than 20 minutes, the moon will be full. Then, if the old bag turns out to be what we're after, we let her have it. And if she doesn't, then we've wasted valuable time. Perhaps even let the real werewolf escape. They made their way back to the mayor's car. The old hag fought them as they tried to push her in. She even bit Paul's hand. Ow, dirty witch! I ain't going, you can't make me! Paul solved the problem. He swung his rifle butt, clouting the old woman across the side of her head. This is kidnapping. After all, we still have no proof. You shouldn't have hit her. Climb off my back, Mayor, and step on it. She's out cold. It took him over 15 minutes to reach the mayor's house in town. By that time, the old hag had revived. I'll get the book and come right out. Hold her. I still think you're crazy, Hanson. In less than 3 minutes, the moon will be full, and then we'll know for sure. Mayor Hanson hurried into the house, stumbling down the dimly lit hall to the dark library. He stopped suddenly as he reached the door and stared at the gleaming eyes burning in the blackness beyond. What the? Someone's in there! It's... Mayor Hanson moved forward slowly, his rifle ready. Then all at once he saw it, the hairy face, the gleaming fangs flashing from behind the snarling, cruel mouth. He screamed, "It's the werewolf!" He fired point blank again and again. The vile, ferocious beast just stood there, snarling at him. My God, the silver bullets, they don't kill him. I couldn't miss, not at this range. Outside, the men heard the shots and tore for the house. The mayor stumbled to the library light switch. Flicking it on, he shrieked as the glow flooded the room. Rah! In there, in the library. It's the mayor. He's probably being attacked by the werewolf. Mayor Elwood Hanson stood before the full-length library mirror, snarling and shrieking, staring idiotically at the bullet holes he'd made when he'd shot at his own reflection. Good Lord! And that's the first Scream story in my new putrid periodical, Fiends. Naturally, they shot Mayor Werewolf after that. In fact, they pumped him so full of silver bullets, he had to be lowered into his grave with a derrick. Then a couple of grave robbers heard about the silver and... But that's another story. I'll dig that up some other time. Now the Vault Keeper awaits with his creepy contribution to this morbid mess. I'll be back later. Bye now.